Hello, everyone. Welcome into the prediction. Sorry for the bad audio. If you watch the other two predictions, I'm traveling right now. I'm in Gainesville, in town for the Florida Texas game. So I'm not able to use my usual record setup. But today's prediction, this video, is about Miami going to Tallahassee, FSU. Let's look into this game a little bit. Tommy Castellanos has been really good, but he is 1-4 when he's been made to pass over 250 yards. Usually it's flipped, right? But not for him. That's not his game. You don't want to make him run around and pass the ball so much. You want him to run the ball, be able to make plays with his legs, find open receivers after the play's broken down. Gavin Sawchuk has really stepped up as the running back one. He's playing well. He had a really good game in that loss against Virginia. And speaking of big games in the loss against Virginia, Deuce Robinson went off and is obviously the lead receiver right now. He's their main guy. He's the featured receiver, but it's a little bit of an issue because against teams like Miami, who have a good secondary and a great coaching staff, they have a great defensive staff. You can't just have one weapon on the outside. That can be detrimental because you become one-dimensional as far as passing the ball goes. So let's see if Tommy Castellanos can disperse the ball a little bit more to a variation of receivers. That will be important in this football game. The O-line has been pretty good, held up well against Alabama. That's as it should. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball. It looked weird against Virginia because they weren't able to stop him. And I don't, for me, in the first half, it looked like a scheme thing. And then in the second half, Virginia just like they were running over top of them. It was weird because it's not something I expected to happen. I knew Virginia was a pretty good football team, but for them to go in there and run the ball all over FSU, it was surprising to me. Earl Little Jr. and Jabril Rawls in the secondary are really good. The secondary is pretty good. I'm not going to say really good because I believe they rank 69th passing defense, but they're pretty good. They're good enough to get it done against teams. Their run defense is ranked 21st, but the D-line's got to get pushed. You can't get gashed in the run game like I just talked about against UVA. You can't get gashed in the run game. They got to get it after the quarterback a little more. They don't really have a stud pass rusher that I've seen so far. They don't have a guy who's just your game planning against like Miami has with Ruben Bain. You're just like, well, all right, this dude's gonna mess us up. Let's move on to Miami. We're gonna start with this elite offensive line. I mean, Francis Manoa is obviously the staple point, but the whole line is really good. It's probably the best offensive line in football, protecting a really good quarterback in Carson Beck. Carson Beck's been good this year, but the past two games, the turnovers have ramped up just a little bit. He's 1-to-1 in interception to touchdown ratio. Fraction down, obviously. He's thrown three touchdowns and three picks in the past two games. It's a little weird seeing that because of how surgical he was at the beginning of the year. But the good thing is he has possibly the best running back tandem in the whole nation behind him with Mark Fletcher and Charmar Brown. They were running over everyone. It's going to be a tough task to have FSU's defense slow and stop these guys. Malachi Tony and CJ Daniels are really good at receiver, especially Malachi Tony. I was really worried about this receiver room. And preseason, I like to say I have question marks instead of worries because teams can always, backfill. But I was actually worried about this. This wasn't a question mark for me. I was worried about this receiving core, and I shouldn't have been because it's really good. And Malachi Tony's a staple piece of that. CJ Daniels is a transfer in from LSU, who's also been good to help Carson Beck. Moving on to the defense side of the ball, and this is where they really shine. The trenches for Miami is unbelievable. I already said they have one of the best O lines in college football. They also have possibly the best D line in college football. Ruben Bain Akeem Mesidor getting after the quarterback are a ridiculous tandem, ridiculous duo, and it's a challenge for them to stop or it's a challenge for anybody to stop them. At linebacker, you got Wesley Bissaint and OJ Federico in the back at DB. I talk about those two every game because they were staple points last year in their off or in defense, and I think they play even bigger role now. Okay, the spread in this game is Miami minus 4.5. Miami's money line is minus 189. FSU is plus 158, and the over-under is 53.5. Some of the key matchups here is FSU secondary versus Carson Beck. Carson Beck, like I said, has been iffy on the turnovers a little bit the past two games, but FSU gave up some plays against Chandler Morris and that offense against UVA. So what's the dynamic there? Gavin Sawchuk, can he make plays, get some chunk plays against this Miami defense like he did against UVA? Much better defense, much better defensive line. It's going to be tough to do. But King Tommy Castle, and this is what I said. I thought they were going to get smacked by Alabama, but they didn't. They came in and won. And the way I said they would win is if Tommy Castellanos can run around and find guys like Randy Pittman on third down and long or third down and short, run around, make some plays, draw plays off script. Gus Malzahn is a great offensive coordinator. He's great in letting his players make decisions and feel comfortable in that offense. Tommy Castellanos, if he can get out of the pocket, get away from Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Dane in that pass rush, it could be bad for Miami. But with that being said, I think Miami does win this game. I think they're just too good in the trenches. I think they'll dominate the trenches in this game. And I don't think they're insanely better than FSU, but I think they're a better team. And I think it shows that they're better in the trenches. And it makes this game look a little less close than it actually is. I'm going to take Miami to cover the 4.5 point spread. I think they go into Tallahassee and get a win, huge win in this rivalry game, and take an absolute chokehold on the ACC.